The morning sun barely broke through the thick fog rolling off the Pacific as the cargo ship's horn echoed across the port of Los Angeles. Inside the inspection bay, the fluorescent lights hummed, casting harsh shadows across rows of shipping containers waiting to be cleared. The air carried the salt-tinged scent of the ocean mixed with diesel fuel and rust. Bella's ears perked up at the sound of her handler's boots on the concrete floor. The 4-year-old Belgian Malinois had been awake since dawn, her brown eyes alert and focused. She knew the routine. Every morning, the same ritual. The vest, the leash, the walk through the maze of containers. But today felt different. Even now, before the work began, something in the air made the fur along her spine prickle. Officer Lisa Martinez clipped the lead onto Bella's working harness, her fingers moving with practiced ease. 5 years she'd been a K-9 handler with Customs and Border Protection, but the last 18 months with Bella had been something special. The dog wasn't just her partner. She was the best detection K-9 Lisa had ever worked with. Smart, focused, relentless. When Bella alerted, "You could take it to the bank. Ready, girl?" Lisa's voice was soft, meant only for Bella's ears. The dog's tail gave a single wag. Always professional. Always ready. The inspection bay stretched out before them, cavernous and cold. Container number HLCU2 847392 sat in the center bay, its blue paint faded and scraped from years crossing the Pacific. According to the manifest, it held automotive parts from Shanghai. Brake pads, filters, engine components. Nothing unusual. The X-ray scan had shown the expected dense patterns of machinery and packaging. The paperwork was clean. The shipping company was legitimate, used this route twice a month. By all accounts, this was just another container in an endless stream of commerce. But protocol was protocol. Every container got inspected. Every container got the dogs. Lisa led Bella to the starting point, 20 feet from the container's doors. Around them, other officers moved through their own inspections. The clang of metal, the beep of scanning equipment, the crackle of radios, the symphony of the port at work. "Search," Lisa commanded. Bella moved forward, her nose working the air currents. She circled the container's perimeter, methodical and thorough. Left side, rear, right side. Her nostrils flared, processing thousands of scent molecules per second. Things humans could never detect, never even imagine. The world through Bella's nose was vivid and complex, a landscape of chemical signatures and invisible trails. She completed the external sweep. No alert. Lisa nodded, making notes on her tablet. Officer James Chen, supervising the bay, gave a thumbs up from across the floor. One more container cleared. Keep the commerce moving. Lisa reached for the door release. The heavy lock clunked open, and she pulled the right door wide. The interior was packed floor to ceiling with cardboard boxes, each stamped with shipping codes and company logos. Everything looked exactly as it should. "Interior sweep," Lisa said, gesturing Bella forward. The dog stepped into the container's dark mouth. Her paws moved silently over the wooden floor. Lisa followed, her flashlight cutting through the shadows. The air inside was stale, trapped. It smelled of cardboard and packing materials, metal and grease. Standard cargo scents. Bella moved between the stacks of boxes, her nose working continuously. Left stack, center, right. She reached the back wall of the container, 40 feet deep. Boxes pressed against every surface. The X-ray had been right. It was packed solid. Then Bella stopped. Her body went rigid, frozen mid-step. Her nose lifted, testing the air near the back left corner. She took 2 steps closer to the wall of boxes. Her breathing changed, became faster, more focused. Lisa's heart rate picked up. She knew that posture. Something had caught Bella's attention. But then Bella did something Lisa had never seen in 18 months of partnership. Instead of sitting the trained alert signal for a detection, Bella backed away from the boxes. Slowly, deliberately. Her eyes never left that back corner, but her body language screamed wrongness. Not the excited intensity of a drug detection. This was different. "What is it, girl?" Lisa moved closer, shining her light on the boxes. Nothing looked disturbed. The seals were intact. Everything appeared normal. Bella retreated further, backing out of the container entirely. She sat at the threshold, but not in the alert position. She sat facing the container, blocking the entrance, her body tense. Lisa frowned. In 5 years of K9 handling, she'd never seen a dog refuse to work. Bella didn't refuse. Bella didn't quit. Something was wrong. "Chen," Lisa called out. "Can you come take a look at this?" Officer Chen jogged over, his equipment belt jangling. Behind him, 2 more officers paused their work. "What we got?" "I'm not sure. Bella's acting strange. She won't go back in." Chen peered into the container, then at the dog. Bella hadn't moved, still sitting guard at the entrance. Did she alert? No. That's the weird part. She just stopped, then backed out. Chen pulled out his tablet, scrolling through the inspection data. X-rays clean. Manifest matches. This container's been through San Francisco, Seattle, and Vancouver in the last 6 months. Same shipper every time. Never flagged. He looked at Bella again. Maybe she's just having an off day? Lisa bristled at the suggestion. Bella doesn't have off days. Look, Martinez, I get it. You trust your dog, but we've got 14 more containers to clear before the morning shift ends. And the shipping company is already on my ass about delays. Chen gestured at the stacks of waiting containers. If there's no alert, we need to keep moving. Give me 5 minutes to double check. You've got 3. Lisa approached Bella, kneeling beside her. The dog's eyes were fixed on that back corner of the container, her ears forward, alert, not relaxed, not confused, watching. What do you sense, girl? Lisa whispered. What's in there? Bella's tail didn't wag. She pressed closer to Lisa's leg, as if trying to keep her handler away from the container's entrance. Lisa stood, playing her flashlight over the interior again. The boxes were arranged in tight rows, floor to ceiling. She did the math in her head. The container was 40 feet long, 8 feet wide, 8 feet tall. Standard 20-foot equivalent unit, packed, solid, meant roughly 2,500 cubic feet of cargo space. The manifest listed the weight at 18,000 pounds. That tracked for automotive parts, but something nagged at her. The way Bella had frozen at that back corner, the way the dog's whole demeanor had changed. Not excited like a drug detection, not interested like she'd found food, almost fearful. But that made no sense. Bella wasn't trained to fear anything. Time's up, Martinez, Chen called. We need to close it up and move on. Hang on, I want to try something. Lisa walked back to her equipment locker and grabbed the thermal imaging camera. It was overkill for a cargo inspection, but maybe it would show something the X-ray missed. Heat signatures, cold spots, anything unusual. She powered it up and aimed it at the container's interior. The screen showed the expected pattern. The boxes radiated the ambient temperature of the bay, slightly cooler in the shadowed areas, slightly warmer where the morning sun had touched the metal walls. Nothing stood out. No hot spots that might indicate electronics or batteries. No cold spots that might suggest refrigeration. Lisa panned slowly across the back wall of boxes. Green, green, green. Uniform temperature. Then, a flicker. So brief she almost missed it. In the back left corner, exactly where Bella had stopped, a tiny variation in temperature. Warmer than the surrounding boxes by maybe 2 degrees. It could be nothing. Could be the way the air circulated. Could be the type of cargo in those specific boxes generating slightly more retained heat. Or it could be something else. Chen, I've got a temperature anomaly in the back left corner. The supervisor sighed and walked over, looking at the thermal screen. That's within normal variation for packed cargo, Martinez. We see that all the time. But combined with Bella's behavior, your dog didn't alert. There's no alert, no cause for secondary inspection. We've already spent 10 minutes on this container. Chen's tone was firm now, not unkind but done with the conversation. Close it up. Let's move on. Lisa felt the familiar weight of protocol settling over the situation. Chen was right. Technically, no alert meant no cause. They had quotas to meet, containers to clear, commerce to keep flowing. The port couldn't grind to a halt every time a dog acted a little strange. But 18 months with Bella had taught Lisa to trust that intuition, that partnership. The dog had never been wrong. Not once. Every alert had been good. Every pass had been clean. Perfect record. Until now. 1 more minute, Lisa said. Please. Chen checked his watch. 60 seconds. Then I'm closing this container myself, and marking it cleared. Lisa walked back to the container's entrance. Bella still sat at the threshold, immovable as a statue. The dog's eyes tracked Lisa's movement, but she didn't stand, didn't follow, just watched, waiting. Lisa stepped inside again, moving carefully between the stacks of boxes. She reached the back left corner, the spot where Bella had frozen. Up close, the boxes looked identical to all the others. Cardboard, stamped with TINUA, Automotive Company, Ltd, and shipping codes. She pressed her hand against one. Solid, heavy, felt like it could be brake pads or filters, exactly as labeled. She moved to the corner itself, where the back wall met the left wall. The boxes here were packed tight. No gaps. But wait, Lisa crouched lower, angling her flashlight. There, at floor level, barely visible behind the corner boxes, a seam. Not in the cardboard, but in the container wall itself. A vertical line, about 3 feet tall, maybe 18 inches wide. Too straight to be a crack or damage. Deliberate. Her pulse quickened. She pulled out her multi-tool and used the flat edge to probe the seam. It was a panel, cut into the container's wall and painted to match. Nearly invisible unless you knew exactly where to look. And you wouldn't see it on an X-ray because the metal panel and the container wall were the same material, same density. A hidden compartment. Chen, Lisa's voice cracked with urgency. We've got a false wall. Back, left corner. The supervisor's boots hit the container floor at a run. What? Hidden panel. There's a space behind this wall. Lisa's hands were already working the seam, trying to find a release or hinge. Chen's face went pale. Hidden compartments meant one thing. Smuggling. Could be drugs, could be weapons, could be any number of illegal goods. This just went from a routine inspection to a federal case. Don't open it. Chen barked into his radio. Control. This is Bay 7. We have a concealed compartment in container HLCU 2847392. Need backup, need detection team. Need hazmat standing by. The bay erupted into controlled chaos. Officers converged on the container. Bella, still at the entrance, watched it all with alert eyes. Lisa backed out slowly, her mind racing. What was in there? Drugs seemed the obvious answer. Fentanyl, maybe. Or cocaine. But that didn't explain Bella's reaction. Bella was trained to sit and alert for drugs. She'd never backed away before. Within 5 minutes, the response team had assembled. Senior Supervisor Rodriguez arrived, stern-faced and all business. The hazmat team set up monitoring equipment. 2 more K9 units, 1 narcotics, 1 explosives, were brought in. The narcotics dog, a German shepherd named Duke, swept the container. No alert. The explosives dog, a Labrador named Max, did the same. No alert. Rodriguez turned to Lisa. Your dog detected something neither of our specialized units found. You sure about this hidden compartment? Lisa pointed to the seam. It's there, I can see the cut line. Rodriguez examined it himself, then nodded slowly. Okay. Let's open it. Carefully. Hazmat, you're on standby. Everyone else, full protective gear. Martinez, get your dog back to a safe distance. Lisa led Bella away to the designated safety zone, 50 feet from the container. The dog settled at her feet, still watching, still alert. Lisa's hand rested on Bella's head, feeling the tension in the dog's muscles. The entry team used cutting tools to carefully pry open the hidden panel. The metal squealed as it gave way, revealing a dark space behind. Flashlight beams cut into the void. Then someone gasped, "Jesus Christ." One of the officers breathed. Rodriguez's voice came over the radio, tight with controlled fury. Control, We need medical. Multiple victims. Juveniles. We've got a trafficking situation. Lisa's blood ran cold. Trafficking. Not drugs. Not weapons. People. The next 30 minutes were a blur of activity. Paramedics rushed in. Social workers. FBI agents. The hidden compartment, carefully constructed inside the shipping container's wall, was 8 feet long, 3 feet wide, 6 feet tall, barely enough space for a person to lie down, and inside, crammed together, were 4 children. The oldest looked maybe 12. The youngest couldn't have been more than 6. They were dehydrated, terrified, barely conscious, but alive. All 4 alive. The paramedics worked quickly, getting IV fluid started, assessing vital signs, wrapping them in blankets. The children didn't speak English. One of the social workers managed to communicate in Mandarin. They'd been sealed in that space in Shanghai 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks in the dark, with minimal food and water, crossing the Pacific in a cargo hold, suffocating slowly. They should have been dead, would have been, probably, within another day or 2. Lisa watched from the safety zone, her throat tight. Bella leaned against her leg, as if sensing the emotional weight of the moment. The dog had known. Somehow, impossibly, Bella had detected those children when the X-rays, the other dogs, all the technology had missed them. The slight warmth of 4 small bodies, generating heat in a tiny space. The nearly imperceptible scent of human fear and suffering, filtered through metal and cardboard and 40 feet of cargo. Rodriguez approached once the children were safely in ambulances, headed for the hospital. His face was grim, but his eyes held something else. Respect. Maybe. Wonder. Your dog just saved 4 lives, he said quietly. We need to understand how. The other K9s didn't detect them. The equipment didn't show them. But your Bella somehow knew. Lisa shook her head. I don't understand it either. She's never done anything like this before. She's trained for narcotics, not human detection. And she didn't even give me a proper alert. She just refused. Refused to let you make a mistake, Rodriguez said. Refused to let those kids die. He crouched down, looking at Bella. The dog's tail wagged once. Tentative. Good girl, he said softly. Hell of a good girl. The investigation unfolded rapidly. The shipping container was part of a trafficking network, moving children from China to the United States for exploitation. The automotive parts were real. The company was legitimate. But someone inside had access to containers and had been using them for human cargo. The hidden compartment was sophisticated, designed to evade X-rays and routine inspections. The traffickers counted on volume, on the sheer number of containers moving through ports every day, on the time pressure to keep commerce flowing. They hadn't counted on Bella. Over the next week, Lisa watched as the 4 children recovered. 3 girls and 1 boy, ranging from age 6 to 12. All had been promised jobs or education, their families desperate and deceived. Now they were in protective custody, safe, being cared for. The traffickers were in federal custody, facing life sentences, and Bella became famous. News crews wanted the story. The department wanted to study her methods. Other handlers wanted to know how she'd done it. But Lisa couldn't explain it in any technical terms. Bella had simply known that something was wrong, that going into that container was dangerous, that the normal response wasn't appropriate for this situation. The dog had trusted her instincts over her training, and she'd been right. 2 weeks after the rescue, a ceremony was held at the port of Los Angeles. The 4 children attended, healthy now, color back in their cheeks. They wore new clothes and carried new backpacks, preparing for their new lives under asylum status. The youngest, a 6-year-old girl named Lynn, clutched a stuffed dog toy. Someone had told her that a dog had saved them. She didn't understand the full story yet, but she understood that much. Bella stood at attention in her dress uniform, Lisa beside her. Commissioner Harris spoke about dedication and service, about the importance of trusting our partners, both human and canine, about how technology and procedure are vital. but sometimes instinct and bond matter more. Then he presented Bella with the CBP Medal of Honor, the agency's highest award. It was usually reserved for officers who risked their lives in the line of duty. This was the first time a dog had received it for an act of detection rather than protection. When the medal was clipped to Bella's collar, the crowd applauded. The 4 children were brought forward, allowed to pet Bella gently. Lynn approached slowly, shy, then wrapped her small arms around Bella's neck. The dog stood perfectly still, accepting the embrace with gentle dignity. Lisa's eyes burned with tears she refused to let fall. Not here. Not now. Later, maybe, when it was just her and Bella and the quiet of their home. But right now, she needed to be strong, needed to stand beside her partner and accept this moment. Rodriguez approached after the ceremony. As the crowd dispersed, "Martinez, I owe you an apology. When you said your dog was acting strange, I should have listened. I was thinking about protocol, about keeping things moving. I wasn't thinking about what your partnership with that dog means. You were doing your job," Lisa said, "following procedure. That's what we're supposed to do." "Yeah, but procedure isn't everything. You knew that. Your dog knew that." Rodriguez looked at Bella, who sat calmly at Lisa's side. "We're implementing a new protocol. If any canine handler reports unusual behavior from their dog during an inspection, we stop. No matter what the tech says, no matter what the manifest says, we stop and we investigate. Your Bella just taught us all a valuable lesson." That night, Lisa took Bella to the beach. They walked along the sand as the sun set over the Pacific, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. The same ocean those 4 children had crossed in darkness and fear. The same ocean that nearly became their grave. Bella bounded ahead, chasing seagulls with puppy-like enthusiasm. The medal still on her collar, she looked like any other happy dog, playing in the sand and surf. No one watching would know what she'd done, how she'd sensed life where technology saw only cargo, how she'd refused to follow her training because the situation demanded something different. Lisa sat on a driftwood log and watched her partner play. How had Bella known? The question haunted her. Was it scent, so faint that even the other trained K9s couldn't detect it? Was it some other sense? Something humans couldn't measure or understand? Or was it something deeper? Some intuition that came from the bond between dog and handler? From 18 months of working together so closely that they operated as one unit. Maybe it didn't matter. Maybe the how wasn't as important as the what. 4 children were alive because Bella had trusted something beyond her training, because she'd been allowed to communicate in her own way, even when it didn't fit the expected protocols, because Lisa had chosen to trust that communication, even when it seemed irrational. Bella trotted back, panting and happy, and dropped a piece of driftwood at Lisa's feet. Her tail wagged furiously. Time to play. Lisa threw the stick and watched Bella race after it. Tomorrow they'd be back at the port, back to inspecting containers, back to the routine. But they'd be different. Everyone would be different. The story of Bella and the hidden children had spread through every CBP office, every port, every checkpoint. Handlers were looking at their dogs with new eyes. Supervisors were questioning their reliance on procedure over instinct. The conversation had shifted from, "Does the technology confirm it?" to, "What is the dog telling us?" And somewhere, because of that shift, maybe other children would be found. Other victims would be saved. Other tragedies would be prevented. Bella returned with the stick, dropped it again, and this time flopped down beside Lisa on the sand. Her tongue lolled out in a doggy grin. The metal caught the last rays of sunlight, glinting gold. Lisa scratched behind Bella's ears, that special spot that made the dog's back leg kick with pleasure. "You did good, girl," she whispered. "You did so good." Bella's tail thumped against the sand. In her simple, profound way, the dog seemed to understand, not the full weight of what she'd done, not the lives saved and the network disrupted, but she understood that she'd done her job. She'd protected. She'd served. She'd been faithful to her purpose. And really, that was all any of them could do. Show up. Pay attention. Trust the bond. Listen when something feels wrong, even if you can't explain why. Refuse to let protocol override instinct when lives hang in the balance. The moon rose over the ocean, full and bright. The waves rolled in, eternal and rhythmic. And on the beach, a handler and her dog sat together in comfortable silence. Partners who'd changed each other's lives forever. Somewhere in protective care, 4 children slept safely for the first time in weeks. They'd have nightmares, probably. They'd need therapy and support and time to heal. But they'd have that time. They'd have their lives. They'd have a future, because a dog named Bella had refused to ignore what she knew to be true, and a handler named Lisa had chosen to listen. The drive home was quiet. Bella dozed in her crate in the back of the SUV, exhausted from the beach run and the emotional weight of the day. Lisa navigated the familiar streets, her mind still processing everything. In 24 hours, she'd gone from routine inspections to federal trafficking case to national news. It was surreal. Her phone buzzed with another text. Probably more interview requests. The media couldn't get enough of the story. Dog saves 4 children trafficked in shipping container. K9 hero discovers hidden victims. Faithful defender defies protocol to rescue kids. The headlines were dramatic but not inaccurate. That's exactly what had happened. Bella had defied protocol, had refused to follow her training, had communicated danger in the only way she could, and it had worked. Lisa thought about all the other containers they'd inspected over the years. Thousands of them. How many had they cleared that maybe deserved a second look? How many times had efficiency trumped thoroughness? How many times had protocol blinded them to possibility? She'd never know. But going forward, things would be different. For her team, for the entire agency. Bella had taught them all a lesson about listening, about trust, about the partnership between human and animal. The next morning came early, as it always did. Lisa was at the port by 6, Bella at her side. Word had spread. Officers stopped to pet Bella, to congratulate Lisa. The dog handled the attention with her usual calm professionalism, accepting pets and praise with equal grace. Rodriguez met them at the inspection bay. Martinez. Bella. Ready to work? Yes, sir. Good. Because I've got 15 containers that need inspection today. And after yesterday, I've got complete confidence that if anything's wrong, you two will find it. He smiled. No pressure, right? Lisa laughed despite herself. No pressure at all, sir. They approached the first container of the day. Standard procedure. Manifest check. Visual inspection. K9. Sweep. Bella moved through her routine with focused efficiency. Exterior sweep. Interior sweep. Systematic and thorough. No alert. Clean. They moved to the second container. Then the third. Each one routine. Each one exactly what it claimed to be. Automotive parts, electronics, textiles, the everyday commerce that kept the nation running. By midday, they'd cleared 8 containers without incident. Maybe yesterday had been a once-in-a-career event. Maybe they'd never see anything like it again. That would be fine with Lisa. 1 trafficking network disrupted, 4 children saved. That was enough heroism for a lifetime. But as they approached the 9th container, Bella's demeanor shifted, subtle, almost imperceptible. Her tail went still, her ears cocked forward, her pace slowed. Lisa's heart rate picked up. She knew that look, that focus. Bella completed the exterior sweep, then sat at the container's entrance. The alert signal. Classic. Textbook. Perfect. We've got an alert. Lisa called to Rodriguez. Narcotics signature. The supervisor nodded and radioed for backup. Within minutes, the secondary inspection team had arrived. They opened the container carefully. And sure enough, hidden among crates of machine parts, they found 70 pounds of methamphetamine. Another bust, another win. But this one felt different. This one was just good police work. Just a well-trained dog doing what she was trained to do. And that was okay too. Not every day could be dramatic rescues and medals. Most days were just this. Routine work. Steady vigilance. Catching what could be caught. Stopping what could be stopped. But Lisa looked at Bella with new eyes now. Every time the dog alerted, every time she swept a container, Lisa wondered about the layers of information Bella was processing. The 1,000 cents human noses couldn't detect. The subtle wrongness that technology couldn't measure. The intuition that came from millions of years of canine evolution. They were partners, but Bella brought capabilities to the partnership that Lisa could never match. All Lisa could do was trust. Listen, respect what the dog communicated, even when it didn't make immediate sense. That evening, back at home, Lisa sat on her couch with a beer and scrolled through the news coverage. The story had been picked up nationally. Faithful Defender had become Bella's unofficial title. The CBP was getting calls from other agencies wanting to understand their training methods. The 4 children had been moved to safe foster placements. The traffickers were cooperating, leading investigators to other containers, other routes, other victims. One investigation had cracked open an entire network. And it started because a dog had acted strange. Lisa's phone rang. Unknown number, but a local area code. She answered cautiously. Officer Martinez, this is Sarah Wu, translator for Child Protective Services. I'm calling on behalf of Lin Zhang, the youngest child rescued from the container. Lisa sat up straighter. Is she okay? She's doing well, physically. Emotionally, there's a long road ahead. But she wanted me to call you. She wants to meet Bella again, properly. She's been asking about the dog every day. I think, in her mind, Bella saved her. She's processing her trauma through that connection. Of course. Absolutely. Whenever works for her. They arranged a visit for Saturday at a local park. CPS would supervise. There would be a child psychologist present. But Lin would have a chance to spend time with Bella in a relaxed setting. Saturday arrived, sunny and warm. Lisa brought Bella to the park, and the dog immediately spotted Lin sitting on a bench with her foster mother and the CPS team. Bella's tail started wagging. She remembered. Lin's face lit up with a smile that looked like it hadn't appeared in a while. She stood slowly, clutching her stuffed dog toy, and approached with tentative steps. Bella, she said softly. The name clear, despite her accent. The dog sat automatically, patient and gentle. Lin reached out and touched Bella's head, then wrapped both arms around the dog's neck, and she cried. Not scared crying, not sad crying, release crying, relief crying. The kind of crying that comes when you're finally safe enough to let the fear out. Bella stood perfectly still, accepting the embrace, radiating calm. The dog seemed to understand, on some instinctive level, that this small human needed her to be strong and steady. Lisa's eyes burned with tears again. The child psychologist caught her eye and nodded approvingly. This was good. This was healing. They spent an hour in the park. Lin threw a ball for Bella, giggling when the dog bounded after it. She fed Bella treats, guided by Lisa's instructions. She sat in the grass with the dog sprawled beside her, petting the soft fur and talking in quiet Mandarin that Lisa couldn't understand but recognized as the sound of a child processing trauma. When it was time to go, Lin hugged Bella one more time. Thank you, she said in careful English. Thank you, Bella. The dog licked the girl's face once, gentle. Then Lin and her foster mother left. Hand in hand, Sarah Wu, the translator, stayed behind for a moment. That made a huge difference for her. She's been having nightmares every night, waking up screaming, thinking she's still in that container. But after today, I think she'll sleep better. She needed to see that Bella is real, that the rescue was real, that she really is safe now. We can meet again, Lisa offered. As often as it helps. I think she'd like that. The visits became a weekly ritual. Lin and Bella spending Saturday afternoons in the park. Sometimes the other 3 rescued children came too. They were older, processing their trauma differently, but they also found comfort in the dog's presence. Bella became part of their healing journey. A living reminder that they'd survived, that someone had cared enough to find them. Months passed. The case made its way through federal court. The traffickers received life sentences. The investigation led to raids in 6 cities, dozens of arrests, and the rescue of 23 more victims. Bella's discovery had broken open something big, something dark, and brought it into the light. The 4 children made progress in their recovery. Lynn started school, struggling with English but determined. The boy, Chen, joined a soccer team. The 2 older girls, Mei and Jing, were in therapy but starting to smile more, laugh more, live more. And every Saturday, weather permitting, they came to the park to see Bella. Lisa watched these visits with quiet wonder. Her job had always been about enforcement, about stopping bad things at the border. But this was different. This was relationship. This was healing. This was seeing the full impact of that one moment when Bella had refused to ignore her instincts. One Saturday in late summer, Lynn approached Lisa with a drawing she'd made in art class. It showed a big dog standing in front of 4 stick-figure children, with a heart drawn over the dog's chest. At the bottom, in careful letters, she'd written, "Bella, my guardian angel." Lisa framed it and hung it in her office at the port. Every morning when she came to work, she saw it. A reminder of why the job mattered. A reminder to listen to her partner. A reminder that behind every container, every inspection, every routine day, there might be lives hanging in the balance. Bella, for her part, took it all in stride. She was still the same focused, professional working dog, still alerted on narcotics, still swept containers with systematic thoroughness. But Lisa swore the dog held herself a little differently now. A little more confident. A little more assured. Like she knew she'd done something important and was ready to do it again if needed. The agency officially changed its inspection protocols. Now, if any canine handler reported unusual behavior from their dog, even without a formal alert, supervisors were required to stop and investigate. Bella's case was taught in every canine training program. The story of the dog who refused to follow protocol and saved 4 lives. And across the country, handlers started paying closer attention to their partners, noticing the subtle shifts in behavior, learning to read the nonverbal communication, trusting the bond over the technology. It was a quiet revolution, but a revolution nonetheless. The balance between procedure and instinct, between protocol and partnership, had shifted, and it was making a difference. Lisa and Bella continued their work at the Port of Los Angeles. Years passed. They made countless busts, intercepted tons of drugs, caught smugglers and criminals, but none of those cases were featured in news stories. None received medals or ceremonies. That was fine. The work was the work. Every container inspected, every sweep completed, every day showed up and served. That was the real story. Not the dramatic rescue, but the steady dedication, the faithful defending of borders and lives, day after day, container after container. Lynn grew up. She graduated high school, then college. She became a social worker, specializing in helping trafficking victims. She never forgot that dog who saved her life. Even as an adult, she'd visit Lisa and Bella when she could, bringing pictures of the children she was helping, the lives she was changing. "You inspired me," she told Lisa once. "You and Bella, you showed me that one person, or one dog, paying attention at the right moment can change everything. So now, I pay attention. I look for the signs others miss. I trust my instincts, just like Bella trusted hers." That, Lisa thought, might be the greatest legacy of all. Not just the 4 lives saved that day, but the ripples spreading outward. Other victims helped. Other children protected. Other faithful defenders inspired to trust their instincts and listen to what others might miss. Bella retired at age 9, after 5 years of distinguished service. There was another ceremony, another medal, more recognition. But the real goodbye happened quietly. On Bella's last day of work, they walked through the inspection bay one final time, past the rows of containers, past the familiar equipment and protocols. Lisa unclipped Bella's working vest for the last time. "Good girl," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "Best partner I ever had. Best partner I'll ever have. Bella's tail wagged, and she leaned into Lisa's leg. Just a dog and her handler, at the end of a shift. Nothing dramatic, nothing heroic. Just faithful service, faithfully completed. They went home together, and Bella settled into retirement with the same calm professionalism she'd brought to her work. She slept more, played more, enjoyed long walks on the beach without the pressure of duty. But sometimes when they passed the port, Bella's ears would perk up, her nose would lift, testing the air, remembering. Lisa got a new K9 partner, a young Belgian Malinois named Thor. He was good, eager, talented, but he wasn't Bella. He never would be. Still, Lisa trained him with everything Bella had taught her. Trust your dog. Listen to the subtle signs. Respect the bond. Know that technology and protocol are tools, but the partnership is what makes the difference. And when Thor acted strangely during an inspection one morning, refusing to enter a container despite showing no formal alert, Lisa didn't hesitate. Stop, she told the supervisor. We need to investigate this. They found nothing dangerous that time. Just a family of feral cats that had nested in the packing material. But Lisa didn't regret stopping. Didn't regret trusting her dog over the protocols. Because somewhere, Lin Zhang was helping a trafficking victim rebuild her life. Somewhere, the 3 other children Bella saved were living and thriving. Somewhere, handlers were paying attention to their dogs in new ways, catching threats that might have slipped through. And it all started because one dog refused to ignore what she knew to be true. And one handler chose to listen. That was the lesson. That was the legacy. Trust the bond. Listen to your partner. Be faithful in your defending, even when it means going against protocol. Even when it seems irrational, because sometimes lives depend on it. And years later, when Bella passed peacefully in her sleep at age 14, the funeral was attended by dozens. Officers, handlers, supervisors, and 4 adults who'd once been frightened children in a shipping container, who owed their lives to a dog who'd paid attention when it mattered most. Lynn spoke at the ceremony, her English perfect now, her voice strong. Bella taught us that being a guardian means more than following rules. It means listening to what your heart tells you, trusting your instincts, and refusing to look away when something feels wrong. She was our faithful defender. And because of her, we got to grow up. We got to have lives. We got to become people who now defend others. She placed a photo by Bella's memorial plaque. 4 children and 1 dog, taken in a park on a sunny Saturday. Everyone smiling. Everyone safe. Thank you, Bella, Lynn whispered. For hearing us when no one else could, for refusing to give up, for being faithful. The gathering dispersed slowly, people sharing stories, remembering. Lisa stood alone by the memorial for a long time, her hand resting on the cool plaque. You changed everything, girl, she said quietly. You changed how we work, how we listen, how we trust. You saved lives and started a revolution, all because you refused to ignore what you knew was right. The sun set over the Pacific, painting the sky in brilliant colors. Somewhere out there, ships were crossing the ocean, containers stacked high, commerce flowing, and in ports across the nation, K9 teams were inspecting them, faithful defenders paying attention, listening to their partners, trusting the bond. Bella's legacy, living on in every inspection, every alert, every life saved. That's how you measure a life well lived. Not in the number of days, but in the impact made. The lives touched, the difference forged from dedication and courage and faithful service. Bella had measured well. Very well indeed, and in offices and homes around the country. Her story continued to inspire. Handlers trained their dogs with new awareness. Supervisors implemented protocols that valued instinct alongside technology. And somewhere, always somewhere, another victim was found because someone paid attention. Someone listened. Someone trusted the bond. The faithful defenders, carrying on the legacy, one inspection at a time, one life at a time, one partnership at a time, listening, trusting, defending, always.